Afternoon. Okay, just thought I'd do a little video on this helmet I picked up on my holidays. Last week I was away for 10 days. Went to Croatia, and I managed to hide this from my good lady wife, so she doesn't know that I actually got this on holiday and came home with it in my bag, right? Which is a whole other story. So what this is old Yugoslavian um, M59/85 helmet, right? And at the end of the 80s into the 90s, there was a lot of conflict starting. And in the early 90s, there was a big war in what was Yugoslavia, and it split up into like Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia Herzegovina. You've got Serbia, Montenegro, and Macedonia. Okay, so they all separated from Yugoslavia, and there was, you know, many years of fierce war. The strange thing was, a lot of the equipment was basically the same. So it went from the Yugoslavians using these helmets to everybody using the same helmet, but with slight modifications of insignia and things like that. Right now, if I swivel this round, can't really see very much of it, but just here, right, you've got the remnants of what originally would have been a red star. Okay, the red star was the emblem of the Yugoslavians. That was their badge on the front of their helmets. What you would see after that was this was scrubbed off, and there was a decal put on the front, which would be either the JNA, which is the Yugoslav National Army, Slovenia, Serbia. You know, they all had their own badge on the front, right? Now, I do remember seeing a lot of these kicking around in the 90s, because I was out there with the British Army, and I took one home as a souvenir. Donated it to the National Museum, the National War Museum of Scotland in Edinburgh, but I don't know what happened to that. But I remember it had a red star on the front of it, right there. But yeah, it's a very basic helmet. We'll just swing it around so we can look on the inside. Let's move this out of the way. So if we look at the inside of the helmet, it's very, very similar to the American M1 helmet. I've got one of them there, and I'll let you see it in a minute. But all it is a suspension system with a leather sweatband, and let's pick my pencil up, and a chin strap. But what I've noticed about this, and I never actually noticed it before on the one I did have, it's adjustable on both sides. I would have thought of just a single strap, you would have just needed to adjust it one side. So I'll pause that just now. Okay, so we've got the M59 helmet, we've got an M1 helmet, which this one's a European clone, right? After World War II, a lot of European countries used the M1 helmets, so they just kept on using these. So this one is a Danish one. You can see the suspension system with the leather sweatband. Right, it's pretty much the same. And then this system was used, believe it or not, in the helmet that replaced that. So this is the Kevlar helmet, what do they call it? The PASGAT, Personal Arm Assisted Ground Troops. It's got the same suspension system in it. So it gets its name, the M59, from the year it was developed. So it was like sort of 1958, 1959. That's when it came into service. And the 85 is when there was a modification to the helmet. And towards the back edge, along here, which is the rear, it's more swept up slightly, rather than being a straight line along the back. This is just to make it easier to use the helmet when you're lying down. It's not gonna slide forward and cover your eyes, which is one thing I do remember when I was wearing Mark 6 helmet. Every time I was lying down, rucksack would be pushing it forward, and the front of the helmet sliding over my eyes. But yeah, the design, it's very similar. It puts me in mind of this type, right, which is your East German. I don't know, reminds me anyway. So yeah, it's quite an interesting helmet. I've seen them over here. You know, I've seen dealers selling them over here. You probably expect to pay around £20–25. I think, what was the last time I seen these? Centre of Britain Army Surplus, which unfortunately that shop's now closing down next month. But I do remember they had a load of these. But this one here, I was speaking to there was a guy. I was just a guy I was talking to, and he says he served in the Croatian forces during what they call the War of Independence, and he had this helmet. And he says, "Oh, I'll sell you if you want it." And I thought, "Oh, well, okay, here we go. I'm going to get done for done up like a kipper, thinking I'm just some stupid tourist." But he says you can have it for 100 kuna. Now, 100 kuna, or kuna, which is the local currency in Croatia, 100 kuna roughly worked out to be about £12, £12.50 give or take. So yeah, gave him 100 kuna, gave us a helmet. So yeah, really happy with that. Right, just a little additional bit. There's a couple of things that I did remember that I had tucked away in a box. These are things that I've had for, what, 25 years, 25 odd years. So this is a Yugoslavian rifle pouch, because they used, apart from the sort of AK type weapons, some of them had Mausers, the old bolt action rifles. So just a wee ammo pouch. You know, got a couple of field dressings. Don't you remember when these dated? Yeah, 80s. This thing here is a gas mask filter, respirator filter. I've got the mask somewhere. It's a weird looking thing. And then, lastly, the thing I picked up was this. Vojna Policia. So the Vojna was like the army. You know, so it'd be obviously a military police badge. So I think Vojnik would be a soldier. So yeah, Vojna is army. This one's marked JNA. You can see the star design, which is what I was talking about earlier. So the front of the helmets would have the star at basically the front, be painted red. And that's what they had. So yeah, I did have other things, but like I said earlier, donated a lot of them to, it was the War Museum in Edinburgh, up in the castle. But, I was 20 years ago, and nothing ever went on display, so I don't know what they've done with it. It was helmets, it was a police uniform, maps, all sorts of things. What else was there? Oh, yeah, there was a actual sight, or an optic sight for an RPG launcher, so yeah, I don't know what they've done with that. So anyway, enough of me blethering on. That's a quick little video on the M59 stroke 85 helmet. Okay, enjoy.